Zendikar Rising is right around the corner, and it's bringing us 17 brand new legendary creatures to play with. In addition, the Commander Precon decks being released alongside the set each have a unique legendary inside, providing a total of 19 new Commander options. Like with the previous set, Jumpstart, Wizards of the Coast has released an article giving brief overviews of each of these new legendary creatures, providing backstory and lore for us to enjoy. In this video, I'll be going over each of these flavor blurbs, each one providing information on a different legendary creature. Keep in mind, all of this information is available in an article titled The Legends of Zendikar Rising, and a link to that article will be available in this video's description. With this information in mind, let us begin. Akiri, Fearless Voyager. Akiri is arguably the greatest line slinger on Zendikar, blazing new trails and surviving falls that would prove fatal to anyone else. In the past, she served as guide to a band of Kor, but she was forced to watch helplessly as an Eldrazi attack took the lives of her comrades. This event hardened her, and she swore to fend for herself from then on. Once the Eldrazi were defeated, for lack of anything better to do, she found herself involved with the reconstruction of Seagate. She fell in with a party of adventurers who struck forth in search of rare materials needed to complete the city. Among those adventurers was the merfolk Zaghraz San. Connecting with Zaghraz and other adventurers helped her open up once more, and her desire to fend for herself slowly became a desire to protect those closest to her. Seagate completed, she now spends her days traveling between the Expeditionary House and the Sky Claves in the company of her found family. Zaghraz San, the Trickster. Zaghraz is among the top rogues on all of Zendikar. If you need something stolen, well, he's probably already taken it for himself. He believes life is unfair, and the only way to get ahead is to lie and take until you have everything you need. He grew up without much, and lost the little he had in the battle against the Eldrazi. He became involved with the reconstruction of Seagate, thinking it wouldn't be hard for things to go missing in all the hubbub. To his own surprise, he found himself genuinely invested. He had intended to leave as soon as the city was completed, but he discovered a compelling reason to stay. During the restoration, he found a true connection with Akiri, Kaeya, and Aura. Working with his new comrades gave Zaghraz a sense of purpose and belonging he hadn't felt in a long time. Kaeya, Royal Chaser. Kaeya is a thrill seeker and master wizard. She looks down on more indirect magic and believes that bigger is better. If explosions and fireballs and giant boulders can't solve your problem, you should probably ask someone else. She's also a bit of a tinker, and was able to cobble together a flying wizard staff from technology she found in the Sky Claves. She involved herself with the Seagate restoration efforts after Zaghraz and Akiri saved her from an elemental attack that she totally had under control. Trust her. She realized things can get even more out of hand with a full party, and agreed to help them with their explorations. She was shocked to find out how well she got along with her teammates, and would do anything to protect them, as long as anything can be done via force. Aura, Skyclave Hierophant. Aura is a Kor cleric who is deeply connected to ancient Kor civilizations. He lived his life in awe of the past, learning what he could from the various ruins. Over time, he became quite the master cleric, among the best on Zendikar. Ironically, the past took everything away from him. When the Eldrazi returned, his family was lost in the struggle. Listless, he wandered the plain. When the skyclaves rose again, he took it as a sign that he must rise again himself. Aura realized that the easiest way to get inside of a skyclave would be to join the Sea Gate restoration efforts, as they frequently sent parties to explore the ruins for supplies. He found a vacancy in Akiri's party, and then found much more. He couldn't shake how much Akiri, Xerath, and Kaza reminded him of the children he had lost, and vowed to protect them as if they were his own. Anawan, the Ruin Thief. In settlements around Zendikar, Anawan was considered a renowned mage and benevolent scholar. With the help of his followers, he cultivated an image of himself as a man of knowledge, the person to go to with strange relics and hard questions. He didn't like the answers he found after leading planeswalkers to the Eye of Ugin led to the release of the Eldrazi. In the years since the appearance of the Eldrazi, Anawan's fortunes and his reputation have been in steady decline. Numerous adventurers have made claims that he stole the credit for their expeditions and discoveries, not to mention stealing some of the precious finds they uncovered. With the rise of the ancient core skyclaves, Anawan has dedicated himself with renewed purpose to deciphering the secrets of this lost civilization and rebuilding his own power and prestige. Obun Moldaya Ancestor. To the Moldaya nation of elves, the spirit world and the mortal realm are equally important, equally real, and equally present in daily life. The spirits of the dead are full-fledged members of the Moldaya nation, and Obun is first among them. In life, centuries ago, Obun led the Elven Rebellion against the Balaged Skyclave. In death, he is the key advisor to Speaker Hazan, the leader of the nation. Even though Obun has been dead for ages, it in no way impedes his influence. On the contrary, the ancient elf spirit holds an unparalleled mastery of both the spirit world and the forces of nature. Speaker Hazan's influence is heightened by his close relationship with Obun, but he would lose his honorable position if he were ever seen disagreeing with Obun or disobeying his commands. Tazri, Beacon of Unity. In her youth, Tazri encountered a dying angel. Wounded in battle against vampires, the angel asked Tazri to end her suffering. Tazri killed the angel in an act of mercy and took her halo so she would never forget or forgive what she did. 19 years later, Tazri was the primary advisor to Commander Vorik of Seagate. When the Eldrazi awoke, she found herself fighting alongside Gideon Jorah, and she wasn't happy about it. When Commander Vorik lay dying, he named Gideon his successor. This infuriated Tazri, who should have been next in line. She partook in many battles against the Eldrazi, and ultimately survived their assault thanks to the power of the Halo and the soothing, forgiving angelic power within. Restored by the angel's grace, Tazri took her rightful place as commander of Seagate and led the final stand against the Eldrazi. She led the reconstruction of the city, which has been destroyed in the battle. With the assistance of the angel Linvala, Tazri convinced the expedition houses to work together, and now Seagate shines once again. As a new age of exploration dawns on Zendikar, Tazri will see to it that her city and plain flourishes. Linvala, Shield of Seagate. Millennia ago, The angels agreed to keep watch over the imprisoned Eldrazi. As time passed, they became lax in their vigilance and allowed the creatures to escape. Although the Eldrazi were re-imprisoned by Nahiri, the angels had failed. As penance for their mistake, all the angels began to wear their halos across their eyes, symbolizing their blindness and providing a constant irritation that reminded them to remain watchful. Except for Linvala. Linvala believes that the halos blind the angels from the day-to-day problems of the people of Zendikar. As her peers flew high above the plane, keeping an eye out for potential dangers, Linvala descended to the city of Seagate and offered to help lead the restoration project. She quickly allied herself with Commander Tazri, and the presence of an angel was more than enough to solidify Tazri's leadership. Drana, the Last Blood Chief. Drana is a vampire blood chief of House Calastria. When the other vampires were subjugated by the Eldrazi, Drana led the vampiric resistance against them. She retook the city of Malakir for a time, only to lose it to the enemy hordes. Nearing defeat, she combined forces with Gideon and Tazri, ultimately leading to the Eldrazi's defeat. As the only survivor of the first generation of vampires, Drana holds unquestioned leadership over vampire society as it rebuilds from the devastation of the war against the Eldrazi. In a desperate attempt to repopulate vampire society, Drana is trying to discover the means to create new blood chiefs, since only a blood chief can create a new vampire. Her desire to rebuild her shattered race makes Ghoul-Draz particularly dangerous for non-vampire visitors. Zaghraz, Thief of Heartbeats. Zaghraz is Drana's right hand. Her word is his bidding, and his loyalty is unquestioning. He has devoted himself to scouring the Skyclaves in search of the means to create new blood chiefs. This is the source of his loyalty. Drana has promised Zaghraz that should he find the secrets of creation, he will be the first to receive its gifts. His abilities as a rogue are not to be underestimated. He navigates the dangerous hallways of the Skyclaves with ease. Many adventurer parties have woken in the morning to discover their own rogue missing and a nearby Zaghraz ready to offer his condolences and his services. Taberax, Hope's demise. In the wake of the Eldrazi's rise, many people of Zendikar feel that their gods have turned against them. In desperation, those who are already inclined towards wickedness and depravity increasingly turn to the worship and service of demons. Of all the demons, Taberax has amassed the largest following, his cult believing he could single-handedly protect them from a potential Eldrazi resurgence. Sometimes he shares a small taste of power with his most devout, but Taberax makes certain he receives much more in return. Morag, Fury of Akum. Some Minotaurs, like Morag, forego all the trappings of civilization and live in the wilds, embracing their bestial nature. He lives as a predator, feeding on whatever animals he can catch, or on humanoids if no other prey is available. His horns have grown wild and cruel, perhaps larger than any Minotaur in history. A black market exists for minotaur horns, and ones as large as Morags could keep a person fed for the rest of their life. Many would-be poachers have found the horns they seek, brutally impaled through their sternum. Omnath, locus of creation. Omnath is a being of pure mana, a manifestation of Zendikar's chaotic, primeval forces that is capable of wreaking massive destruction. When the Eldrazi awoke, Omnath began to change. Like a human body fighting a disease, Omnath began to adapt to deal with the Eldrazi threat. It absorbed more and more mana, embodying not just the might of the forests and jungles, but the fury of the mountains, the unrelenting seas, and the life-giving plains of Zendikar. The Eldrazi are gone now, but Omnath is still growing. What is its goal? If it is truly Zendikar incarnate, what does the plane want? And how will it get it? Ashaya, Soul of the Wild. Ashaya was summoned by Nissa to fight the Eldrazi. Nissa named the elemental Ashaya, meaning the awoken world. Unlike other elementals, Ashaya did not return to Zendikar when the battle was completed. In their time together, Nissa realized she was one with Zendikar, and Ashaya showed her how to wield the ley lines of Zendikar and the power of the land. Philath, World Sculptor. Elementals are physical incarnations of the primal natural forces that make up the plane of Zendikar. Many are pieces of the plane, plateaus, islands, or expanses of water awakened to fight the Eldrazi. The longer the Eldrazi rampaged across the plane, the more active and violent these elementals became, and the destruction of the Eldrazi has not entirely settled them. Philath is the exception. From the moment of its birth, Philath has only created, never destroyed. Deep within Marasa, Philath tends to a peculiar little garden, one populated by living plants it has cultivated. It tends to this small society with a delicate touch never before seen in an elemental. Is Philath a strange aberration, or is Zendikar itself changing? Yeshan, Implacable Earth. Yeshan awoke as a direct response to the return of Kozilek. It is the will of the McKinley Trenches and has rampaged ceaselessly since its awakening. The rise of the Skyclaves brought much attention to ancient core ruins, but Yeshan's presence has kept McKinley completely untouched. As Yeshan tramples across the land, new growths spring up from its footprints, including strange fruits and flowers never before seen on Zendikar. They bloom for a brief and beautiful moment before the elemental doubles back and crushes them beneath its massive, verdant hooves. Varizon, the Split Current. Magasai is the tallest waterfall along the Umara River, plunging almost 300 feet over a sheer cliff. The portage near the top of the waterfall is a popular resting point for travelers, but it is hardly a safe refuge. Varizon, a massive, twin-mouthed serpent, dwells in a deep, aquatic cave behind the cascade. Varizon effortlessly swims up and down the waterfall, hunting at both elevations. While the top mouth will happily gorge itself on hapless travelers, the bottom mouth prefers to feed on the fish that spawn at the waterfall's base. Gracmaw, Skyclave Ravager. Gracmaw is a massive hydra that lurked in the shadows of a fallen Skyclave for centuries. Completely blind due to living in complete darkness, the hydra's other senses are extremely sensitive. Gracmaw feeds primarily on the giant centipedes and other insects that skitter about the corridors. When the Skyclaves rose once again, Gracmaw discovered a new source of food: adventuring parties. The few adventurers that survived the climb to the entrance Gracmaw guards never seemed to find the exit. Taberax, the Raging Isle. When Iona destroyed the Tazim Skyclave, huge chunks of it fell into the ocean. One particular piece of ruin, housing a powerful and forgotten core artifact, landed on a clutch of crab eggs. The eggs were all crushed, except for one. That egg hatched and, denied normal food, gorged itself on the energy of the artifact. It grew larger and explored the surrounding ruins, finding new artifacts upon which to feed. When the Skyclaves rose once more, many of the Tazim ruins emerged from the ocean. Its lifestyle and food supply interrupted, Taberax has breached from the depths in search of sustenance. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like or sharing this video with your friends. If you're subscribed to my channel and click the notification bell, you'll be alerted whenever I upload new videos. Finally, if you have a suggestion for a topic you'd like me to cover, feel free to let me know in the comments section below. Thanks again, and have a great day.